Democratic Congressman André Carson of Indiana and a member of the Intelligence Committee. Representative Carson, thank you for being here, sir. And I know that, look, Republicans, they voted down a hearing with Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg. That happened just a couple of days ago. So where do things go from here?
Well, thanks for having me. You know, I think it's very unfortunate. Unfortunately, my colleagues on the Intel Committee have been acting as President Trump's legal team. I think what we're seeing here, we're seeing a Republican Congress. Many good members of Congress are deeply concerned about the 2018 election and the anti-Trump wave that is happening, bubbling across America. We saw yesterday scores of young people, Generation Yers, Generation Xers, millennials, even baby boomers, coming out in droves in major cities across the country saying enough is enough. This is just a small piece of the pie because people are concerned as it relates to gun legislation, as it relates to this current administration, as it relates to the vitriol that's coming from the White House. They're seeing this move and they're afraid and they don't want to put themselves in harm's way. It's an act of cowardice.
Are you finding, sir, that witnesses, though, might be a bit reluctant at this point to speak with your committee because the majority ended the investigation a week ago?
We still have a lot to talk about. We've yet to call in Mr. Reince Priebus. We've yet to call in over 15 companies that could be critical to unearthing the extent of Russia's influence into our electoral process. There's a lot of work to do, and those of us who are truly concerned about our democracy want to see this investigation continue.
So how much longer are you going to have the opportunity to do so before you'll have to have, I guess Adam Schiff will have to release a report?
Well, Ranking Member Schiff is working on it, as well as the other Democrats. Look, we don't have the majority, so we don't have the leverage in terms of the extent of or the weight of our subpoena authority, but we still have authority and influence to call in witnesses to examine and unearth the issues that we need to unearth to get to the bottom of this thing.
But is it that you have yet to find anything about collusion? Is there one thing that Democrats are interpreting and saying, okay, we see this as being collusion, or is it not there yet?
Look, anytime you have Director Robert Mueller, who is an accomplished investigator, decades of experience in law enforcement, who's leading the investigation, indict 13 Russians, I think that's a good enough cause right there.
Okay. What about colleagues over on the House Judiciary Committee? I know that they held a news conference this week. They're once again warning the president, you better not fire Robert Mueller. And that was just after the news that John Dowd, his personal attorney in the leading in terms of defending him in or at least advising him, rather resigned. You have today the breaking news: the president decided not to hire two lawyers he did say would be joining his legal team. So the shakeup on the legal team, does it suggest to you that he may be moving closer to firing the special counsel?
It's difficult to say. I think what is clear is that President Trump is incredibly difficult to work with. His impulsivity wears thinly on people who try to help him. He doesn't listen to advice. He goes by his gut instincts a bit too much for the White House. It may have worked well in business, but I think it's too much for the White House. I think those Republicans who refuse to press the president on this issue and protecting Director Mueller, I think it shows, as I began in the beginning of this discussion, that they're concerned about their reelection efforts. They're concerned that if President Trump fires Director Mueller, which is a tremendous, huge mistake, I think it could actually solidify the disillusionment that voters have as it relates to their confidence in this president and in Congress, particularly the Republican Congress.
How about taking that even a step further? I mean, were he to fire Mueller, you heard Senator Jeff Flake that would prompt impeachment. Do you agree?
I would hope so. I would hope so. If that were to happen, I would hope so. The question becomes, how bold will Republicans be in making sure that impeachment takes place? That remains to be seen.
How worried are you that Judiciary Republicans are going to follow in the steps of the House Intel Committee and end the investigation? Call it a wrap.
Well, a lot of those folks who sit on that committee, Republicans and Dems, are buddies of mine. Again, I think it's a matter of being principled. It's a matter of having integrity. It's a matter of listening to the needs of your voters, whether Republican, Democratic, or Libertarian, and really listening to what they're concerned about. And they're concerned about this investigation. There's disillusionment with our economy. There's disillusionment with job security. And now, even more so than that, the White House is in disarray. We're seeing huge turnovers that are quite unprecedented.
All right, Indiana Democratic Congressman André Carson, sir, thank you so much for your time on this Sunday.
Thank you much.